The most dangerous 21-mile corridor on Earth is the site of a military convergence that defies every diplomatic norm of the last century. In the Strait of Hormuz, three foreign navies, Russia, China, and Iran, are physically sharing the same water with two United States aircraft carrier strike groups. This isn't a drill. This isn't a simulation. These are real warships, thousands of sailors, and live weapon systems locked in a silent standoff. But what makes this moment historic isn't just the steel in the water, it's the timing. This is happening exactly 1 week after Donald Trump issued a final ultimatum to Iran. Deal or bad things will happen. Is this coordination, or is it the birth of a new global military architecture? While the mainstream media focuses on the threat of war, the real story is written in the language of energy and economics. Washington is reading this message very carefully. Because what's unfolding is not just a standoff. It's a message written in satellite feeds and ballistic trajectories. I'm Camilo Motato, a certified public accountant reporting for 2 News. In the world of finance, we talk about systemic risk, the kind of event that can collapse an entire market. Usually we talk about banks. Today we're talking about a geography that controls 20% of the world's daily oil supply. As a CPA, I don't just look at the missiles. I look at the maritime insurance premiums and the cost exchange ratio. If a $20,000 Iranian drone can force a US destroyer to fire a $2 million interceptor, the math of war has fundamentally changed. Today, we audit the Iron Triangle in the Strait. Let's look at the ledger of events. On February 17th, a Russian corvette docked at Bandar Abbas, Iran's primary naval base. Simultaneously, Chinese and Iranian warships moved into the Gulf of Oman. This marked the start of Maritime Security Belt 2026. They call it anti-piracy. But look at the shore. At that exact moment, the White House Situation Room was discussing military strike options against Iranian nuclear sites. 2 US carrier strike groups were already en route. Against this backdrop, Russia and China didn't pull back. They showed up. This is what analysts call escalation management through presence. By being physically there, Russia and China are signaling that any US strike will not happen in a vacuum. You raise the cost of action without firing a single shot. Most media outlets show you footage of Iranian fast boats buzzing around carriers. As a professional, I tell you, ignore the fast boats. They are a distraction. The real threat is underwater. Iran operates the Ghadir and Fateh class submarines. These are mini-subs specifically designed for the shallow, noisy, and chaotic waters of the strait. US sonar is world-class in the deep ocean, but in 200 feet of turbulent water, the math changes. According to 2025 defense reports, Iran has positioned over 20 of these subs along predictable carrier routes. They don't need to hunt, they just need to wait. In warfare, even a 1% chance of a hit on a $13 billion nuclear carrier changes the political calculus in Washington. Iran's goal isn't to win a naval battle, it's to make the insurance premium of entering the strait unacceptably high. Let's talk about the most effective low-tech weapon in history, naval mines. Estimates suggest Iran holds 6,000 mines. As a CPA, I think of these as economic landmines. You don't even have to detonate one to win. The moment credible intelligence shows Iran loading mines onto boats, maritime insurers like Lloyd's of London will pull coverage for every tanker in the region. No insurance means no transit. No transit means 20 million barrels of oil stop moving. This happens without a single declaration of war. It's an economic heart attack triggered by a few $1,000s worth of rusted steel. Now look at the Chinese contribution. The Type 055 Ren high-class destroyer. This is a peer-level combatant. It carries 112 vertical launch cells and as of late 2025 confirmed hypersonic anti-ship missiles. The US Navy has admitted to Congress that they are still developing a reliable defense against hypersonic terminal approaches. When you pair that missile with the Luyang Wang-1 intelligence ship, which is currently tracking every move of the US carriers, you have a structural change in the environment. China isn't just watching, they are providing the long-range checkmate capability that Iran lacks. What does Russia bring? They bring battle-hardened electronic warfare. After 3 years of conflict in Ukraine, Russian EU systems have been iterated against NATO tech in real time. In a naval standoff, EDU means jamming radars, spoofing GPS, and blinding the sensor networks that a carrier strike group needs to fight. When you layer Russian EDU over Chinese surveillance and Iranian geography, you don't have three navies, you have an integrated operational system. Here is the layer no one is connecting. This exercise didn't start in Hormuz. In January, these same players were in the South Atlantic for Will for Peace 2026, the first official BRICS naval operation. BRICS used to be an economic club about de-dollarization and development banks. Now it has a strategic maritime dimension. The economic project and the military posture are being stitched together. They are defending the trade routes of the future from the power of the past. Finally, let's look at the number that keeps Treasury Secretary Yellen awake. $130 per barrel. That is JP Morgan's estimate if the strait closes. Right now, oil is at $64. A jump to 130 would reignite global inflation, collapse consumer spending, and likely trigger a global recession. The Iron Triangle knows this. They know that 84% of Hormuz oil goes to Asia, especially China. China is protecting its own energy supply with its own warships. This isn't just about Iran, it's about Beijing securing its industrial heart. The question being asked in the Situation Room tonight isn't, can we hit Iran? The answer is yes. The question is, can we afford the morning after? Three navies are making sure that answer is no. Whether this ends in a deal or a prolonged standoff, the Strait of Hormuz remains the axis of the world. Not because of the ships, but because of those 20 million barrels with nowhere else to go. What do you think? Is this a bluff? Or is the US truly surrounded in the strait? As a CPA, I see a high-risk liability. What do you see? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Camilo Motato for 2 News. Subscribe, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next analysis.